My name is Narain Karthikeyan and this Formula 3 car is what drives me. Well, of course, racing, I love racing, and once you retire from racing, then for a while you miss it a lot more because 20 years of your career you're driving day in and day out, and then because of in my case the COVID happened, and then I had to it was an abrupt stop. It was not in a phased manner. I had a contract with Honda to continue in 2020, but that didn't happen. What I do right now, I do a lot of work with the Tata Motors in the dynamics, in developing the dynamics, benchmarking of cars. So a lot of these products you see behind me, this is the first gen, this is the new gen. All of them have been put through my paces, and a lot of feedback on dynamics, on comfort, on so on. So this is what I do, and I have a toy as well, a proper FIA Formula 3 car. This is something I drive to keep in touch with motor racing. You never know, I might do the odd couple of races. Yeah, so this is a really fast car. This car was made between 2018 to 20. I think I remember in 1985, I was seven years old, and my father built me a Suega powered go-kart. It didn't look like a go-kart, but just a chassis and those Suega 50cc moped engines. Now it was obviously very slow, so some of these drivers here, the chauffeurs, used to push me up to speed, and the game was to maintain the speed. So you'd get up to 40 kilometers an hour. Never did I realize that from here I would go on to the pinnacle of motorsport, Formula 1. It was a very, very humble beginning. So after 2020, things were becoming quite tough. My last race in Super GT in Fuji Speedway, I was quite dominant. I beat a lot of the DTM drivers as well. I had a contract with Honda Nakajima Racing to continue in 2020, but then it all got into a very bad situation with COVID coming in. The onset of COVID left many things uncertain. Couldn't go to Japan. So what do? That was my retirement, I suppose. After retiring from motorsport, yes. Do you miss it? Of course I miss it, but all athletes have only certain number of years and a shelf life, and I decided to do a bit away from motorsport and in the auto ecosystem and become an entrepreneur. So that's what I did for the last 3-4 years. But having said that, yes, I definitely miss driving. In the meanwhile, we had a lot of time, and there was this trust called the Coimbatore Autosports and Transport Trust. The original trustees had bought this land way back in 1987, about 114 acres of land, lying idle for 30 odd years. So when we saw this, we said, okay, we'll build another circuit. And I got busy with that. We got Clive Bowen from Apex to design it, then Johan Setna as part of the team. So we did a fun project, and it's come to some sort of a build. We still have a lot to complete, but then you have a track now. You need to get a good car to have fun on the track, and for me, fun. I never get the thrill driving the fastest sports cars, so I decided to get a Formula 3 car, and that's a lot of fun, a lot of downforce. It's a baby F1 car, and that's what drives me. That's what the sense of speed I get in that car is a lot more, and the sense of G-forces, the braking performance, everything is chalk and cheese. For example, to put it in context, We drove the brand new 911 GT3 RS, and then we drove this car within a couple of days, and the lap time was around 14 seconds a lap faster than the Formula 3 car. So it's that how it's massively fast, and that gives me a lot of thrill and keeps you fit and gives me a little bit of preparation if I ever want to do any other races in the near future. My focus was Formula 1, and I didn't really care what car I do. For the longest of times I was driving a S-Team and not an S-Team, Maruti 1000 and a 800, and then I graduated from there. I think I wasn't in India for a long time, and then the first actual car I bought was a Nissan R35, the GTR, in 2008. That was one of the first cars in India, and that was a beast. Those days, 3.5 seconds to 100 and so on was quite a nice car to have. And then I started racing again in Formula 1. So I got rid of it, and then to 2018 I got a GT3 Porsche 911 GT3. That was a car to keep. It was a 991.2. But then I got into some Japan racing, and nobody drove it here because, I think because it just rattles your teeth every time you drive on the track or on the road. And we didn't have the coast then, so that was canned as well. Now I drive all the a line of Tata products. I have the number of Safaris, the Hexa. There's a Land Rover Discovery Sport. I have a Toyota Hilux for the go-karts to move. So the involvement with the Tata engineering team at Pimpri in ERC was, this was instrumental because Mr. Ratan Tata at the time was in the board of Fiat, and he had gone to the Maranello test track, and they had just launched a new Maserati road going version. I don't remember which car it was, and their management, Luca Di Montezemolo, offered Michael Schumacher to take Mr. Tata on a drive on the track. So when they got talking, then Mr. Tata realized that they're using Michael to develop the road cars and benchmark the road cars, and he said, it's not, we don't make sports cars, but why don't you consider getting into developing the dynamics of the car. So that's when it started. 2005, end of 2005, when I finished my first season with Jordan, immediately I was put into Tim Leverton's team at that time, and they were developing the Bolt and the Zest. And I remember very clearly that the dynamics of the car had to be at a certain level compared to the benchmarks, and we kind of went after it and achieved it. And since then, the Tata cars have always they are spoken highly of for the dynamic ability and for the ride and handling. A bunch of other things. I may be getting a 296 later in the year, I don't just to be spending so much money in India and then driving on just the racetracks. I don't know, I don't find it so exciting. So in terms of G-forces, the Formula 3 car produces nearly 60% of the G-forces of a Formula 1 car, and a sports car would produce maximum 20%. So the difference is huge. Every half a G you feel a lot more like if you pull 2 positive Gs, it's 2 times of forces acting upon you. So also the braking performance and so on, makes the car very different compared to a sports car. The driving experience in a Formula 3 car is possibly the closest you'll get to a Formula 1 car. The biggest issue here is the car runs on a Mercedes bespoke engine, racing engine, and the compression ratio is 16:1. So we have to get 102 octane, and India doesn't have brew that fuel. So that is the biggest obstacle, and then the tires are very expensive. Yeah. So hunting for this Dallara F3 car was not so hard. I've been connected with so many Formula 3 teams in the past, and Double R Racing, Anthony Hyatt and Trevor Carlin, they have few of them, so it wasn't a big deal.
A Formula 3 car is the closest thing you can drive to a modern day Formula 1 car. So the difference in lap times, for example, in this coast track compared to a GT3 RS, it's around 13, 14, 15 seconds, and it's massive. It's just the concept of driving a single seater with high downforce, sticky tires, and you can stick to your lines very precisely. You carry a lot of speed, and there are a lot of, in this track, in coast track especially here, we have a lot of fifth gear corners, flowing corners, and which you can attack massively. The faster you go, the more it grips to the ground. So all these devices, these flick ups and the rear floor, the diffuser, the wings, added to a very light chassis. It's very special to drive this car. I drove this car. Formula 3 has been around since the 1970s, and I drove Formula 3 between 1998 and 2000. So I have very good memories. It's a pure racing car, and you can do a lot of stuff to the car aerodynamically, mechanically. So you learn a lot as a young driver. Of course, it's a very different experience. First of all, it's very hard edge, very close to the floor, and the sensational of speed is much higher. And it's because the slicks need to get temperature. It's very tricky car to drive for a layman. But once you start pushing the car, you enjoy the downforce. You find this kind of experience in the fastest road cars of the world. Basically, to be driving this car in coast helps me to be fit, helps me to be sharp, and at a call's notice, I can go drive any car in the world. Of course, Formula 1, I may be past that, but sports cars, Le Mans prototypes, other forms of single seaters, Indian Racing League, whatever, it keeps me sharp, and I love racing. And I could have done it for some more years. My last race I won in Japan, and then COVID happened, so I couldn't really kind of close that chapter. But I enjoy this now, and this track, I helped design this track as well. So a lot of involvement in motorsport. The go-karting is something I really want the kids to enjoy, and the ecosystem develop in India. That's why you'll get the next generation of drivers. So from my experience, I'm kind of trying to contribute from whatever I can.
Well, to run this car, it seems quite difficult. You need a software engineer from the factory, and the consumables, the fuel, the tires, the oil, it's quite cumbersome to get. So Arjun Balu and I decided that there is a possibility that we can start building a bit of infrastructure. So we went inside out. First we set the tarmac, and then the barriers and so on and so forth. In the meanwhile, we said we'll finish the go-kart track to a CIK standard. So that's how it started. Then we had our well-wishers who gave a bit of money, and then we put in some money, and it's come to this stage. Now at this stage, it's neither near here or there. Normally it's used by OEMs for the testing, or tire companies to test the products, or Bosch or whoever to test electronics and so on. So we are very comfortable doing what we are doing. The next step is to, of course, get more resources, finish off phase 1, which will still not small, 20-25 crores. And then we'll be able to do some competitions like the F4 racing and Indian National Championship and so on. But that's only 4-5 weekends. But a complete facility would be, better looking aesthetically and so many other things. We want to build a restaurant, a FEC, a family entertainment center, which complements the go-kart track, because you see the land is quite, that is enough to do all of this. And of course we have Johan Setna here. He has a lot of experience. He's been with me for well over 2 decades. We have Vishal helping us. So we have good people who know about the motorsport ecosystem. It's just we need the resources to complete the project in the next 3-4 months, which we are very hopeful of doing. Well, as you grow older, the rush, you don't want it like every other day. I was racing for 23 years every weekend. But in my case, I want to just, keep in touch with, let the juices keep flowing. But I don't drive it every other day or whatever, but when I get a chance, like every 2 months, I do that. But again, the restrictive amount of fuel and the tires makes a big difference. If I had more of this, I'm sure I'll be driving a lot more. Every year I drive the best, fastest cars in one of these tracks, and I have a lot of fun, and then that keeps me going for a year. My dream car would be to buy a 911 GT3 RS. For me, that's the easiest car to drive, suits my driving style, and I can play with the car, and the car doesn't drive me, I drive the car, and all the setups we have now from Porsche Motorsport, it makes it a phenomenally quick car, and it feels more like a GT car than a road car. It's a GT race car which you may be able to drive slowly on the roads. Yeah, weight makes a big difference. Yeah, single-seater car, this car what we drove yesterday with the driver, without the driver is 480 kilos. Porsche GT3 car would be thrice that weight. I need an element of feel like a racing car, and that feeling is only with very few cars. So compared to the 911 GT3 RS, the Formula 3 car, the biggest difference is the weight and the downforce. Of course, the GT3 has nearly double the horsepower. It has probably, only 60% of the downforce of the F3 car. And, downforce makes a huge difference in lap times. Tires, it runs the standard Pirelli tires, and Porsche runs the Cup 2's Michelins. So tire performance would be not so different, but you gain a lot of time, from the braking to the entry to the corner to the apex. It's like 30k, and through the corner also, that the time difference there could never be caught on the straights, even though the GT3 is marginally faster on the straights. Again, the driving feel is very different. So if a new driver, completely new driver, has no experience driving a single seater, he'd be close in a GT3 car. But because to get everything out of a Formula car with a high downforce, such as the Formula 3 car, will take some time. You need to learn the concept, and you can roll a lot of speed into the coast, no brakes, you can coast a lot of speed into these corners. So these are the things which will be very different.